Welcome to the Spartan Sprint World Championship 2025 here in the gorgeous island of Hvar, Croatia. I'm Francesca Curando and I'm joined by
Kevin Donahue.
Pleasure to have you here, Kevin. Welcome. This is the second year we've been here for the Sprint World Championship. We've already seen the 100-meter World Championship here this weekend, and today we have a whole new roster of athletes ready to take on this different distance. What can we look forward to today, Kevin?
Today, we've been talking back and forth in production right now, and you and I had very different opinions about the men to start off with. And my money is on the Dutch trifecta to take a couple podiums today. That would be Stijn Legrand, Frank Ostrom, and Jesse De Hare. I've watched these gentlemen at other world championships for OCR, where there was World Obstacle, and these three men are like a pack of velociraptors. They strategically hunt the athletes around them. They surround you. They will gut your confidence, and they will scratch, claw, and fight for every advantage of this race. And they actually run as a team. They feed off each other, and it's very intimidating to the other athletes.
So interestingly, we're going to see with the men start first, but let's have a take a look at the map of what the athletes can expect to see today. So this is a sprint course. It's around 5 kilometers with 25 obstacles. We've got swims here, of course, being on an island. We have 6-foot walls and log carries. There comes a second swim with a log carry, and the swims last year were very interesting and caused a lot of problems in the race. Classic Spartan obstacles with the monkey bars and the Z walls, slack line causing a little bit of difficulty there for the athletes, and a rope climb. We've got 6-foot walls. They just keep coming. They do not stop, these obstacles. Inverted wall, sandbag carry. There's a small A-frame right at the top of the hill so the athletes can get even higher than they already are. And let's not forget, they're also battling the elements here, which are the sun and the elevation and technical terrain. It is very, very slippy underfoot. Under through walls, hurdles, bucket carry, another swim, which we saw some changes on last year, a floating spear throw, which is going to really make some big differences for people, and then a whole gamut of obstacles leading up to the finish line, where again last year we saw some real challenges for the athletes. Talking about the athletes, my money is on Richard Hynek and Gregory Basilico. Last year, Richard had a stumble at the finish line, which saw him taking 4th position. Now look at this footing. For anyone at home watching, one of the things with OCR is the shoes that you wear is a really big deal. On this kind of terrain, it's really hard to know what to wear, because if you wear the usual things with the grips and the deep lugs, this is very slick, wet stone in the morning, and you could slip. But if you don't have it going up the hill and on the rough underfoot, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's very easy to fall right into the harbor because it is so slick at the beginning. The tide comes in, and overnight, the water actually starts washing over those rocks. So in the morning, it is still very, very wet until the sun hits it. So when these athletes start out, they have to run under control, but still, it's very narrow and very flat to begin the race. So you have to make sure that you're getting out fast enough to establish your speed. And then you talked about the elements out on that map, right? The sun, the heat, the terrain. This is also the only race we have in Spartan where they're swimming in salt water, and they do it 3 times. I did this last year. You get any salt water in your mouth, all of a sudden the nausea kicks in. So imagine you're redlining heart rate in a Spartan Sprint, and now you're getting salt water in your mouth.
You got a few electrolytes for free though, so we can't complain too much. Now we just saw on camera there Thomas Blanc, who is the race director. This is one of his infamous courses, and anyone who knows anything about Spartan knows that if Thomas is designing a course, you want to be on it. And this year, the talking point has been the floating spear throw. I'm not sure we've ever seen that before.
We've never seen that either. And last year, the spear throw was halfway through the race in the top of the fort. This year, it's right at the end when when their hands are going to be already wet.
So usually I love a last minute spear throw. I think, it's that obstacle that is going to cause the changes in the race. As you can see, everybody's switching position with the spear throw. And last year we saw it, like you say, somewhere in the middle, and we were a bit like, oh, is this really going to make a difference? And absolutely it did. It made a difference in the women's race. We saw Nicole Miracle overtake at the spear throw and then have a lead there for a while.
And this year it's even more consequential because this is the first year in a while.
I apologize. Nicole lost her lead at the spear throw, and she was overtaken with Susanna Kokomova, who had the lead until the swim. Susanna is here again this year for the women. Nicole is not, but we do have two other American women here. We have Annie Doobie and Rose Wetzel, two absolute legends in the sport, who both just raced in Mammoth, California last weekend for the Super World Championships, and they've come all the way over to Hvar, Croatia, which is in Europe, for the sprint. Two very different races, very different elements. We're talking elevation down to sea level, and two very different distances. So it's going to be an absolute incredible race. One thing I do want to mention, talking about the athletes that we have here and the great variety, there is somebody who is missing today, who is Rylan Shadegg. He should have been racing here this weekend, and everyone here is incredibly sad to be missing him, that he is not with us racing, and I'm sure the athletes will have him on their mind as they are taking on the course, as we're doing this commentary.
That was not planned, but that was, once you said that, that became an impromptu moment of silence at the start line for us, for Rylan Shadegg. So all the friends that he has watching, all the people whose lives he touched, whether it was in person or through his inspirational achievements and just being an overall just great human being, he'll be sorely missed, and this is our way to honor and celebrate him today.
Absolutely. Incredible athlete, incredible man, and somebody we would like to see more of his spirit replicated in this sport. So thank you, Rylan. Okay, the men are getting ready to start. We saw there on the front my two favorites here for the men, Gregory Basilico and Richard Hynek, and I'm sure you've got your eyes on your guys.
Oh, I love those Dutch.
And we do also have just a little shot of Leon Kofford there, an incredible athlete. He said he came last year, he got his ass kicked, and he is back for exactly the same thing this year. He's a great sprint athlete, but on this course, it wasn't quite his bag, and he is preparing for another competition right now.
Leon Koffed is one of those guys who just doesn't back down from any challenges, for anything, and he's a man who will always throw his hat into the ring just to get a great battle, win, lose, or draw. He's out there to compete.
He absolutely is. Great guy, another great guy in the sport. We are lucky to have so many incredible athletes and to see them giving their all. And such an incredible team. Look at these people here. Everyone that we see week in, week out at races, supporting, putting these things together, and being part of the Spartan spirit, which is what we love so, so much.
So much of this race at the beginning is going to be about, the strategy that comes involved. There's racers that lead from the front. They're comfortable there. There's racers that like to kind of sit in the middle and see how things play out. And then there's other racers that like to hang in the back and watch everything happen in front of them and then strike right at the end.
Do you know who my favorite racer is?
Tell me.
It's the racer who runs their own race, pay attention to what's happening around them. So there's two aspects to see of this. I love it when athletes push each other to be faster, but I love it when you see athletes, and I always use Chris Flosky as an example of this. She runs her own race, and she does it so well, and that's what I love.
They're getting the instructions right now. Every single one of these men are thinking about how best to position themselves for when they get into that spear throw. Anything could happen when you get there, and that is going to be the absolute game changer today.
I always make a joke when I do race commentary, and I love it with the women, when they wear really fun and colourful outfits. And I'm just going to point out, it's a beautiful day today. All these men are topless.
We are on an island. This is a beautiful place in the Adriatic Sea. It is starting to really heat up out there. And when you're getting in and out of that salt water,
oh yeah,
you do not want that salt
dragging
water,
you down,
but sticking on your shirt and carrying it with you later. Because once that hits the sun and starts to dry, it's going to be crusty. You do not want that on your skin.
I walked down 2 hours ago whilst it was still dark, and I got hot walking. This is an incredible. Location for a race in October. It's hot. Like, we are here for something. We're technically out of the tourist season.
Not brutal hot, but hot enough.
Oh, it's perfect for me. Like, throughout the day, it's sunshiny. This is such a gorgeous place. People have brought their families this year, and it's just such a great place to be for a race. We are so lucky to be here. And here they are off, they're out. Gregory Basilico leading the pack full force. This guy is fast. He is fast. It's an incredible course.
You know, you were talking about the shoes before. Whatever they wore on their feet right now, it is sticking because every one of them ran out clean. Everything looks pretty good. But you also need to have a shoe that when you get in and out of the water is going to drain quickly.
We were talking the other day, I was talking with Leon about the log carry, and we were talking about the best way to do it. And now they're racing, we can say, and I was like, would you not just kind of use it as a float and kick? He was like, you don't want to kick too much with these shoes on. You don't want to be kicking with heavy shoes. So then we had a whole shoe conversation. Look at the speed that Gregory is moving at.
Yeah, so they're going to wrap around this harbor, and then they get into that first swim. And now when they have to go down, it is precarious. It is slick. It is rocky. And people were wiping out just going into the first divot, that first little depression to get in the water last time. So making sure they're set up and they're not in a bunch, because then it becomes like triathlon. You're trying to fight to get into the water, and you're getting kicked.
Yeah.
You're getting splashed. People are falling on top of each other. It's tough. So you want to get out of this pack. You want to be very much isolated once you hit that water.
So we just saw our Netherlands contingent there with Richard Hynek in the group right at the front, and here towards the back of the pack are more of the male elite athletes. Talking about the elite, there is a prize pot here for the elites this weekend. The top athletes, both male and female, will each take home $7,000 for first place, and in second place is $3,500. Third place is a prize pot of $2,000. So there's a lot to play for. It's not just glory. It's not just the knowing that you've won. There's also a very good prize purse.
So it just went off camera because our rabbit couldn't go into the water with his camera gear, but the men just dropped down into that very dangerous kind of little cliff area and are now hitting the water. You can see in the background there how tight that is and how important it was to get out first.
Yeah, if you're out in the front, you're getting a bit more space. You're not getting feet in your face kicking or splashed. Do you know what? I love being in the sea. I hate getting splashed in the sea.
So if you notice there, the athletes are getting as tight to that buoy as possible. The fastest line is a straight line, so you want to get in there as quick as you can. And now he's picked up the exit point in which you have to leave. And if you see that mess, that's what I'm talking about.
You don't want to be stuck in that.
People are getting mauled in there right now, taking shoes to the face, and this is when you start drinking some salt water that you did not want, and then you have to sprint with it after.
But you don't want to tire yourself out too much on the swim either. For some of these athletes, the swimming aspect is not something they're necessarily that great at. You know, they're great. Let's look at Richard Hynek. I don't know how good he is at swimming, but he's a big guy. He is strong in OCR. He's incredibly strong in high rocks. He has muscle. He has speed. Is that going to translate to swimming? And last year we saw the swimming really created some difference. That was where Nicole Miracle in the ladies heat managed to overtake again and reclaim first place. This race for a 5K is really great example of everything OCR has to offer.
As an OCR athlete, the swimming discipline is probably the thing you practice the least.
Absolutely.
So for these men at this time, and to have 3 of them is tough. And this guy is really running fast right now. He's really trying to create some distance. And again, each one of these men is thinking, if you're in the lead, if you're anywhere in podium contention, you're trying to build up as big of a gap, as big of a time difference as possible. So when you get that spear, if you do miss, it's different from last year.
Yeah.
Last year, there was a penalty loop in that fort where they had to spear throw. Today, it's right near the finish line, and we're back to 30 burpees.
There we go. Basilico, having lost some of his placing, he had been right at the front to start, and last year he ran incredibly strong as well for the majority of the race. He has really great speed and strength up and down those hills. He has that kind of classic OCR athlete shape, the small, the compact, quick to move.
For years we were talking about what is, we always have this what is the best OCR body, and it just kind of always seems to change had these multiple discipline fitness activities pop in.
Well, OCR isn't one thing anymore, is it? Let's look. We've had the 100 meters this weekend. We've got the sprint today. Two totally different types of athletes. We do not have the same athletes running yesterday as we have today. Last weekend we had the Super. Next month we have the Beast World Championships. 3 months ago in Morzine we had the Ultra World Championships. How can one athlete cover all of those things? But I'll tell you who's pretty good at covering all those things.
Richard Hynek.
It's Richard Hynek. Do you know what he recently did?
High Rocks, I believe.
Well, aside from that, he just won the Trifecta World Championships with the Sprint, Super, and Beast across 3 days. We just had that in West Virginia, USA, and we also had the European Championships in Lahti, Finland at the end of August, which he took the win for.
Which ironically had the very biggest, the longest swim in OCR so far this year for each one of those 3 disciplines. It was one swim, but it was a long one. So he actually had an opportunity to get in the water a little bit more. And earlier before, we're looking at, I think we just saw Richard right there, but I've also seen some of the Dutch. I think it's Stijn Legrand.
He's out there at the front with
There we go.
Gregory. They are running together, almost pace for pace, pounding the pavement at the same time.
And this is what I was talking about, the velociraptors, right? All of a sudden, they pop out of nowhere. They strategically hunt you. And this little stairwell, these are important because we're going to see a few of these. When you hit those stairwells, they're so narrow, it is impossible to pass anyone.
So Stijn hitting the log carry first, followed by Gregory Basilico 1 second behind him, with Richard Hynek 1 second behind that.
Wow.
Actually, Richard Hynek, he hit it exactly the same time, but his split time is slightly less.
And there's Frank Ostrom right there too. So we have 2 of the Dutch right up there in the top 5.
And we also have Jan Vladar from Slovakia, a great athlete. He shows up all the time. He has been racing for years and often gets really, really incredible results as well. Not one to sleep on.
So once they get done with this log carry, they got to pick up another log on their next swim, which is interesting. We were talking about that. So last year, what I saw in some of the racing was guys were throwing the log in the water, and then they were putting it underneath their shirt to use it as a buoy as they swam. It was incredibly inventive. So I know a lot of these athletes aren't wearing shirts, but if we do find one that is, it'd be a cool technique to look for, because if people watching at home, it might be a technique you want to use in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting. There'll be one of those things you can't impose too many rules on about having constant contact with, but I feel like a lot of athletes, if they have the space, will potentially push it and let it go. There's another thing we're going to disagree on here.
Oh, what's that?
It's the buoy. It's not a buoy.
Did I say a buoy?
Americans call them buoys, and we call them, and it always gets me. It always gets me when I hear it. I'm like, what's the boy?
You know what? There was a reference to that. I'm not going to say it, but it was kind of funny. I'll leave it on camera. But yeah, I'll stick with buoy, because if I start calling it a buoy, I'm going to confuse myself.
You can call it a buoyancy aid. You just made the connection there. Here we go. These athletes are absolutely pounding it. They are running for their life whilst we're here.
And Stijn took the liberties to make sure he brought goggles.
Yes, and that's an incredibly important part. I've seen a few athletes this weekend practicing their swim and run with goggles around their neck, and that will make a big difference if you've got time to get those over your eyes.
So there we had Gregory Basilico throwing it in, jumping in with it. We had other guys throw it out.
If you could, but that's dangerous, man.
It is. You gotta be really careful about the athletes around you.
Yeah, you do, and
because it torpedoes when it hits the water.
Yeah, and you've also got, we just saw as well, an athlete throwing it in and then having to take his time to find the log, rather than if you jump in. Throwing it, if there's no one here, good idea. Throw
it's
it.
hard
There's
to
no
pick
one
it
around.
up. It's dark.
But you know what? I like that. I like that strategy. Goggles on, jump in, hold it, swim.
So I'm going to see where Stijn is right now in relation to Gregory. So again, this is where again you hit the water once, and now you're hopping in there again, and you're trying to make up as much ground as possible. You're trying to stay with the pack, and if you get any salt water in your mouth, it is disgusting. and it's really, really hard to maintain a situation where you're not getting nauseous.
Yeah, that's true. And another thing, like we're talking about how much the athletes are going to love being able to cool down because it is already hot, despite the fact that it's early in the morning. I mean, I'm being told it's 16 degrees C here, but it certainly feels warmer. But you do have a bit of the battle of getting hot, getting cold, getting hot, getting cold. Because this water, it's not boiling. You know, this is natural seawater. It is cool, and at this time in the morning, it's going to feel pretty cool. So the impact that's going to have on the athlete's muscles to go into the water and then to move again. What's that going to be like?
Well, nothing promotes dehydration more than salt water and then going in and out in the sun, right? Like they're in salt water, then heating up again in the sun, salt water heating up again in the sun, then they're doing it at the very end. So who's first coming out of the
That
water?
looks like a high neck to me.
I mean, he's your OCR crush, so I mean, it very well could be.
Yep, so Hynek took the lead on that swim. So just my question was, what's Hynek swimming like? Apparently very, very good. He has overtaken Stein there. Can he hold this lead? Look at this man. He is so strong. If we put him next to the other athletes, he is taller, he's bigger, he's more built. He has been racing for years. He knows what he's doing in Spartan race, and he has an incredible amount of power, and he is not scared to use it.
And these are the elements of the race that really favor him. When you're talking about someone who's strong, carrying a log up a stairs, it's very much like the kind of things you would see in mixed discipline sports where it's repetitive, it's rep-based, and just look at the speed at which he's carrying that log.
Yeah.
And you're also going through these cool neighborhoods.
Yes.
There's olive groves. There's people out there with their dogs cheering you on. You're running right past people's house. They're out there having their cappuccino in the morning, and here's this tank running by with a log.
Ginormous example of a man pounding past your house. That's another thing that's great about being here. The community, everyone has completely welcomed the Spartan community. We take over the town. They're running past the shops, they're running past the cafes. You'll see at some point running through the town down tiny, tiny, tiny little streets, and they love having us here in Hvar, and they want us to bring more and more people and make this more of a spectacle. Do you know how many tourists I've met this weekend who had no idea what was going on? You may notice when I talk about Spartan, I get very, very excited, and there's nothing I love more than being like, well, this is what it's about,
And
it's
I'm
so
excited
much
because
fun.
Stein right now
There we
has
go.
moved into second right behind Richard Hynek.
Yeah, Stein is holding his own here. He came out of that log carry 9 seconds after Richard, but he went into that log carry 2 seconds ahead of him.
And he just lost the goggles, put them in the pocket in his pants because he's
Very
not going to
smart.
need them until the end. So you don't want that like constricting the blood vessels up in your scalp. Every little bit
or around
helps.
your neck.
Nope, exactly.
And, well, one, that's a hazard. Two, it must be so annoying.
So this area right here, it's much steeper than it looks. This is a switchback road that they're going to follow all the way up to another set of stairs that's super narrow and heads up into an area of the woods that quickly transitions into like a rock quarry and a construction area. So that the footing after this road is going to get very tricky.
Yeah, they go all the way up to the fortress here in Hvar, which hopefully we'll get some shots of. It might not look that steep and that high. You know, we've seen mountain running. Last week we have some athletes here that were in Mammoth, and that is incredible running, starting at 2,400 meters above sea level and going uphill. But this is tough. I can tell you because my hotel's at the top of the hill, and every day I've been getting a workout, and I've been thinking about these guys and them having to run it.
Our hotel stairs are just like this, but we're not running in the middle of a race now and just came out of 2 swims and a log carry. So they're going to follow this all the way up, and then it starts to get a little bit more natural, but it is much steeper than it looks.
It is. They are at sea level, so we're not having to battle anything like elevation here, but the air is relatively dry, and it is going to get warmer as the day goes on. And I think, to be honest, I think some of the biggest battles here are, like you say, it's the narrowness of the streets. It's that space, isn't it? I think for the athletes, the battle is getting space to do their thing, because there'll be points where there's no point to overtake.
And there's not much space between these two athletes right now.
No.
Stein has closed the gap on Richard, and if there's one thing Stein could do well, it's just running. he is phenomenal runner. And this is where, you know, the advantage kind of kicks in for him a little bit. Once they get through a lot of these stair sections and he's able to open it up, this is where you could maybe see him overtake Richard.
Yeah, so Richard last year, he was at this race last year. He did very, very well. He came in 4th place, but he had been about to finish in 3rd. He came into this race with quite a serious injury that he was recovering from, so 4th place was impressive, but he had a trip towards the end on an obstacle, which gave him 4th. For the men last year, Stein did come in 1st place, Gregory Basilico in 2nd, who was leading a lot of the race, and Frank Oostrom, also from the Netherlands, came in 3rd, with Richard in 4th. I think, from what we've seen from Richard lately, it's going to be a tough battle between him and Stein.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a fight right now in our hands.
We do.
And this is right now the race right here. So Richard needs to maintain that contact, because once he gets to that Ford area,
Yep.
that's where he's going to be able to excel again on a very tricky, precarious sandbag carry. And then it becomes the opposite. Then it becomes who could handle the forces of flying down that mountain and flying down the stairs in those neighborhoods.
See,
because
it's
be a lot of downhill.
not usual downhill running, is it? We talk about this a lot, the technicality of downhill running, being able to open up your legs and have that strength to let go. But when you're running down these stairs, I've already tripped 3 times out here. It's beautiful. It's rocky, paved underfoot, but it's not even. So when you're going down these stairs, you've got to battle with the space, you've got to battle with the texture of the stones, but also the unevenness of the stones. It's very, very different from mountain running. It's not that ability to open your legs up and go. You've got to watch every placement of your foot.
It's all worked around ancient Roman architecture. This wasn't meant to like normal neighborhoods that people are used to. Everything here is different.
Look at this incredible drone shot. You can see beautiful island, the greenery, the gorgeous architecture. My God, if I could spend a bit more time here, I'd be very, very happy. And you see those 2 incredible athletes battling out. Stein taking a little bit of a head in front of Richard there, maybe just a second or 2 ahead. And now they head off into some more natural terrain.
Yep, it just stepped up. You couldn't really see it, but they had to go up about 3 or 4 feet of a little rocky area and boost up. And now this is when the footing is getting really tricky. It's not going to last like this for a while, but this is a rock quarry area, and it's all stones that are about the size of a baseball, golf ball, or softballs, and they're all turning in and under your feet. So this is where those shoe choices come in a little bit again too, because the terrain is totally switched.
Yeah. And as always, during this coverage, I want to give a shout out to our rabbits who are keeping up with these guys and doing all the filming. They themselves, a team of actually incredible athletes, including Thibaut Jean, who won the Beast yesterday. So they know what is going on. They know what this race is all about.
We don't get this coverage without these rabbits.
No.
So for every shot you see, there's a man running in front of them. Keeping pace, has to be ahead of their pace and also get the shot. So it takes a tremendous amount of endurance and athleticism just to pull that off. So hats off to those guys.
Now this kind of terrain, I know it's difficult with underfoot rock, like you said, but this is more what these athletes are used to, aren't
Yep.
they?
Yeah. And there's the rock quarry, right? So everything in there, it's just ankle twisting, turning. You got to be really careful in here and pick your spots well.
As you can see, exactly perfectly illustrated by Stein there as he dances across the rocks.
The average person who walk across there would have both ankles sprained.
Stein has really taken a bit of lead here on Richard.
Right,
he has opened up that space.
Richard knows that he has that sandbag coming up. The fort isn't too far away, but we have a couple obstacles, classic Spartan obstacles coming up, and this is the first one. This is going to be the Z wall. So remember, wet hands, wet feet. And these walls and blocks are slick.
These are not the normal shoes we would see for an OCR race, are they? These are a lot more foam soled and not as grippy. I'm surprised at the size of these, bearing in mind how many swims there'll be. But we're not seeing the usual kind of...
Well, Stein made it look easy. And we lost contact with Richard. But then they're going to go...
Basilico just getting onto the wall. So our top 3 currently, Stein, Richard,
and right into the rope climb now as well. Oh, I'm sorry, we have bars first.
Two completely different technique there on the monkey bars. Richard showing a lot of strength and Stein showing a lot of kind of slick technique.
Yeah,
This
this
kind
one
of
is so
obstacle.
sneaky hard.
Oh.
I mean, you could easily be on a penalty loop for that, for one little false move. Richard makes it through.
He made it through.
Yeah.
I just
putting a slack rope in the middle of
so
those
mean.
after you've run all those hills and your legs are burning.
I just love the unpredictability of Spartan racing. You know what the obstacles are, but you never know what the race is going to be. And we've had conversations for years about standardizing, and I think people are kind of getting to the point where they're like, do you know what? I love the challenge. It
We like
throws
the
at me
surprise.
every time. Do you remember back in the day when they wouldn't even tell you the course map before the race because they wanted it to be an ultimate surprise?
The water stations, ultimate surprises, and then they tell you it's a 5K. It's really an 8K. You have no idea.
But I love it, and you can see with the design of obstacles, this will be a totally different race from last year.
And give credit to Richard right here. He needed to maintain good contact through that entire obstacle gauntlet we just went through. They just ripped through about 4 obstacles.
Yeah, in no time at all.
But now this is where Richard could shine again.
Yes.
This is where I expect him to take a lead because he just closed the gap on Stein Legrand. He is one of the best heavy carry athletes in the world.
Yeah, he is absolutely dominating in the hybrid fitness world as well as OCR. He has that strength, and we know a lot of that is down to heavy carries and pure strength as well as strong running.
And now we're in the sport, we got to talk about the sport.
Yes,
it's 700 years old. Everything around here looks like it's out of a movie scene, and it's because they are. A lot of these places in Croatia are actually the backdrop to a lot of incredible films and shows. Game of Thrones being the most popular one. So basically, if you come here and you run this race, it's like being in Game of Thrones. It's like being in a movie. Going back in time, it is spectacular.
I just really noticed the difference in our cultures there, because you said it's 700 years old, and I was like, that seems really young. That doesn't sound old enough.
My country's only turning 250 years old next year, so give me a break.
I'm sure this is older than that, but I'm going to trust your history knowledge. I love these views we're getting here from the drone. We can see the athletes from above and all the way down to the island of Hvar. This is absolutely incredible. We've had a lot of athletes come and having an extended stay as well to explore the island. I mean, it's incredible. There's incredible food here. The ice cream is just perfect, as well as the running at the sea. Oh my God, the blue sea is like a sapphire. It's gorgeous. The first thing I did when I got off the boat was take my shoes off and get into the water.
Well, the first thing that Stein did training for this race must have been practicing his heavy carries, because he is holding off Richard. Is very tight.
Richard is going for the overtake. He's going for it. Can he do it? But he's going to be on the outside line. That's going to be tough. Is he going to?
He took that inside. That took a ton of strength to do. There was a little drop off in a dip that you cannot see. But think about how long the sandbag carry is right now and how fast they are going.
So we talked earlier about when they get closer to the town going downhill, how it's going to be hard for them to open up their legs and really run for it. But here on this path, you can see both of them. And Richard is pounding down that hill. His legs are going for it, and oh my God, that was an incredible overtake. Richard is known for these kind of last minute moves. I've seen photo finishes from this guy.
It was so important for him to get a little extra juice, a little extra space between Stein before they hit the uphill, because Richard's going to be much stronger on the uphill. Stein did everything in his power to maintain that lead for as long as he can. Stein did his job about as best as you could there, because Richard's an absolute tank, and now really precarious going up. You could see already the gap forming between them. Stein is maintaining pace though. He must have gotten a lot stronger in the last year. He's right there, and that's got to be really worrisome for Richard, because they still have a lot of wide open running left. And if Stein gets in front with those tight turns through the town, it's going to be hard to make a pass like he just did there on the sandbag carry.
So we're on obstacle 12 of 25 here. We get a lot in one go. After this, there's a longer run and then they will hit the under through walls, which is not really a huge obstacle. And then there's not a lot until we hit 15 through 25, which happens in a very short period. So after this point, the athletes have a good opportunity of downhill to really try and change those positions. But we could see a lot of the action happening as they hit the harbour, and we see that final stretch.
Okay, this fort was strategically made so people couldn't climb up the hill and get over the walls. So it just gives you an idea of how precarious this is. And not only do you have that, you have cactus to your left. So if you slip, you're going into all those cactus needles and you have a whole other set of problems.
And not only that, you've got a sandbag on your back. So you don't have any hands to be helping steady you. I know if this was me, I would be using my hands in front of me to steady myself. These guys, this is again the beauty of Spartan racing. This is not just a hike up a hill. This is a hike up a hill out of the swim, chasing somebody down or being chased with a sandbag with no handles on your back. So your arms, you know, it's hurting your obliques, it's hurting your shoulders, and you need to keep your balance as well.
Just for context for the viewers right now, this is one of the best battles I've seen in OCR ever, particularly at a World Championship event. These men are putting on a show right now for us.
Listen, I love the quality of European racing. I really think, you know, it's so exciting. We have so many great athletes here, and I always call out for the Americans. Just saw Richard jump down there. It didn't look particularly steady, but he's okay. I always give a call out to the Americans to come over and take on these courses against these guys. Rylan was one who was always great at doing that. He'd come to Sparta, he'd take on the Trifecta World Champs. He knew these guys very, very well. Richard went over to West Virginia to race in the Spartan Trifecta weekend, Trifecta World Champs this year, as it was in the US, for a guest visit, and he won that whole weekend. But I'm going to say I'm not a stranger to seeing this really exciting racing happening over here. It is absolutely alive and growing, and the competition is getting fiercer and fiercer. You know, Richard, Gregory, they've been in the sport for years. The Dutch contingent are slightly newer to the sport, and they are adding more. And we are seeing so many athletes coming and adding more and creating even more competition, and I love it.
Yeah, they do incredibly well over here, and the great thing about having these World Championships events in Europe is it's so much more accessible. It's like more centrally located on the planet for everybody to come out and race. And the hospitality that you get here, it's incredible.
To none, isn't
And
it?
for people thinking, I can never afford to go to Croatia, as Stein is opening
He
Richard,
really is.
they, at this time of year, the expenses drop. So it is not very expensive to come to this incredible resort island and actually get fantastic accommodations and be able to enjoy all the beautiful things that the tourists get to do as a racecation, as an athlete. And this is where I was talking about, remember, it is so tight and it's so quick and turning back. Once you get ahead, it is hard to catch up with somebody and make a pass.
So Stein is ahead here.
Stein is ahead. Yeah, Stein pulled ahead.
Stein overtook, as we were talking about tourism, and
and so,
this is the point where they're in the town.
This is also the point. This is also the area where Joe DeSena snagged me on the course and pulled me into a coffee shop last year.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And that's it right there. Stein is just running past that coffee shop. So if you want to go in and grab a cappuccino during the middle of your race, you could totally do it. They did it for me. Okay, so now, just for reference, they're in the 100-meter area. They just passed that. So they just basically came down to the area that you saw yesterday.
So yesterday we had the 100-meter World Championship. It's an incredible event. It is just 100 meters of pure obstacles. It happened here in the town centre. You can catch up with that coverage on the Spartan YouTube channel, and I highly advise you do. It's a totally different game to what we're seeing here, but just as impressive.
And if everything is very well marked. They have marshals in certain areas to make sure that you're making the correct turns. You saw the Czech team with their flag out cheering him on as he's going through. So now you're just running through the village. These are people's homes. These are people's businesses. People are hanging out off the balconies saying hello. There's people that don't even know there's a race going on. They wake up and they see this madness outside their window.
Well, this is the thing as well. Like, it's not just about these elite races today. We have a whole trifecta happening this weekend, plus the 100 meters. 100 meters was an absolute spectacle across 3 days. this will be happening. We've had a sprint, a super, and a beast. The 3 distances, the shorter, the middle, and the longer, happening all weekend, and it is open to everyone. The elite racing, of course, is the competition here. It's the sport side, but we're going to have thousands upon thousands of athletes coming through this course over the weekend. And do you know what? The locals have been incredibly welcoming of it.
The greatest tour you could ever have in the city of Hvar is to sign up for the Spartan race. You will see everything. Everybody trying to get into that position, everybody trying to maintain that position. You're trying to keep contact with the person in front of you because it's really hard to make any passes. It's too dangerous. You just can't do it.
It's so narrow. Do you know what? Even walking, I found that you just kind of go with the flow and try and be patient, because it's really hard to overtake. So for the racing aspect here, Stein did exactly the right thing, getting the lead on here, because now it's just keeping your pace. It's very, very difficult to make a move. But listen, as we said, from obstacle 50, we've got hurdles, we've got another swim, we've got the floating spear throw, which is where we can see everything change. Dunk wall, net, A-frame, multi-rig, slip wall, stairway to Sparta, vertical net, and then that iconic fire jump to finish. And that is all happening in the space of a few hundred meters. So we've got this running now through the village, but you know, it's all going to come to a head very, very soon. If Hynek can keep his eyes on Stein, he's in with a chance.
So if you're looking at the map that we're looking at, the obstacles are these white circles. The white circles of the obstacles look like a pearl necklace because they're just one after the other, and they just stretch along that coastline at the end of the harbor, coming right to the finish line.
And this is that gorgeous coastline that they will be running across, that we've been treated to all weekend. Here we have Hynek back on camera.
This is when they start descending down into that area where that obstacle gauntlet is. And Gregory Basilica.
So we're seeing here the top 5, Stein, Legrand, Gregory Basilica, Franco Strong, Jean Vidal, and Pavel Hedina.
Yeah, we didn't see Richard Hynek's name. I don't know if that's a typo. I don't know if the graphic is incorrect. But here they are running down the beach, coming into that area where we're going to see that huge gauntlet, Francesca.
It is right. It is right. Stein Legrand hitting the under-through walls.
Well, we're looking at Stein right now, and he's
followed by Gregory Basilico.
Right,
Frank
swimming
Ooström.
right towards those buoys.
I am going to indicate there may be a problem with the timing there, because we are not seeing Richard Hynek in that list, and we know he is there. So potentially a problem with his timing chip, potentially just something got missed, but we know that we can see he's very much there in second place.
So they have this is the last swim they'll see. So once they get out of this water here, they're going to that massive gauntlet of the obstacles. You already see people lining up and watching. And there is the spear throw up there on the left.
It's so incredible.
Yeah,
so it's
spear.
They're steady on the ground, but the spears are floating. So that means other people's actions are going to impact your target. We know how people feel about the spear throw. We saw the mild-mannered Ryan Atkins give the spear throw a little bit of a gesture when he managed to get it, and he have to take a penalty. People, this is a sticky obstacle for people, isn't it?
It is. I think it's one of the most important obstacles in Spartan. It is
I
the
agree.
ancient way where people fought, where people battled. If you wanted to survive in the ancient Spartan world, you had to be able to be lethal with a spear. So I love it. It has taken races away from me. I've won races because of the spear. I've lost races because of the spear. So so glad that we have it here. There it is. Richard Hynek hits, and it's now taking the lead.
Brilliant. And this is what we needed.
We had Stein, and Stein misses. And
He's
like we
saying
said,
that's a miss.
now it is 30 burpees for Stein. Richard Hynek, under pressure, hits his spear, and all that work that Stein Legrand did is now gone. Because
Listen.
it's going to be really hard for him to catch up with Richard unless Richard happens to slip off something.
You know, I'm here shouting for Richard from the start, and I'm always going to trust the referees. Did you think that was a fail?
I believe it hit the water.
I thought I saw the obstacle stick, but the end hit the water. The wood hit the water. So what does that mean?
The rule on the spear is that once it settles, it has to be completely off the ground, or in this case, in the water.
Copy that.
It might pop, it might come down and hit, but if it rests in the water.
We'll see a replay here.
So it comes out, unfortunately, flat, and that goes, it's on, I think they're calling the platform the ground. So I think it was resting
That's
there.
a tough call for that referee there.
Kudos to the referee. It's very hard to make a call like that under pressure. That is a tough one to make. I'm going to trust the referee on that.
I'm always going to trust the referee, but
I tell you what, listen, if you don't want it to be a close referee call, you got to make a better throw.
You got to make a better throw. Here we go. Gregory Basilico coming to the spear throw and followed with Richard Hynek on the A-frame. This is the finisher gauntlet that we've been talking about.
Okay, now all these other obstacles, if you fail, it is a penalty loop.
This is the multi-rig. Now they're coming into this with wet hands, potentially with nowhere to dry them. There is no shrubbery, there are no dry clothes. Richard showing his strength. Look at him flying through that with ease, but this is going to cause problems.
And sore arms, and he just got pumped because he knew that was probably the last precarious obstacle that could get him.
Yes.
I think at this point, it is a victory 100-meter dash to the finish line.
I would agree, but this is last year where he had a slip.
And he's pretty far ahead now, but just to put it into context, you have to go into all those obstacles in that spear. After your arms have just been swimming through the water, it really affects your ability to throw and do these obstacles, especially that last rig with the wet hands like you called out. But here he is coming right into the slip wall and where he fell last year.
I am very interested to see who's now in second place after the spear throw as well.
That's it.
This is going to be a fun battle when it gets to the race. It really is.
And I believe that Stein actually still has a chance to podium.
Oh, absolutely, he has a chance to podium. Oh, look at him, he's celebrating.
That's it,
he
knows
is
it.
So happy.
There's your world championship. Francesca, I'll give you credit. You called it from the beginning, and he had the guts and the confidence and the poise to hit that spear throw under pressure with Stein Legrand right there.
Look at this celebration.
And now he is the world 100-meter Spartan champion.
He is the world sprint champion for Spartan 2025.
100-meter. Sorry about that.
You're too excited from yesterday. Do you remember? Let's talk about this. Look at this. The celebration, the happiness on his face. This is one of the beautiful things about this location. Is the amount of support we have here. He ran down that finish gauntlet, just clapping hands with people, and we have a battle for second place here. This is between Stein and Gregory Basilico.
Taking his time going to that rig.
Look
Stein
at this rig.
And Hynek really put a gap on the rest of the field for Stein to have a chance at a silver medal here.
So Basilico caught up with him at the spear throw. And they both have to take enough time on this rig to not slip.
Goggles floating around his neck. Now it's just all about getting as much gas in the tank that you have left and letting it all out there. Burn every match at this point, guys.
Basilico is right on his tail. Basilico started this race in the lead. He is a strong athlete, and he has that in his sights. What risks is he going to take? Can he catch up? I don't think so.
Both these men are strong finishers, but Stein is on a mission right now. He's recovered from those burpees. He's up the slip wall. He's got one more obstacle after that. It is going to be Stein Legrand as your silver medalist here at the Sprint World Championships. And I got one more point that I want to say once these guys have finished.
Oh my God,
Holy
he's
cow.
So close. He is so close.
He's right there, but it's going to be Stein coming down the red carpet. Another podium for the Dutch.
So we have Stein Legrand in second place at the Sprint World Championship 2025. Gregory Basilico just taking third. And I mean, there was 3 seconds in it. There was 3 seconds in it. Both of them are going to be questioning that timing and thinking how close that could have been.
Monster battle came down to just seconds. And there's a hug from Stein, a sign of respect for him and Richard. Is it too early to say? And this is my point. Richard won trifecta world championships.
Yeah.
Now the sprint world championship. Can he go for a trifecta that we've never seen and win the beast world championship in Abu Dhabi in a few weeks?
But he didn't win the Super World Championship last weekend.
Well, that would be the the quadfecta. I'm talking about we are Spartan. We love our trifectas.
So that was 4th place was Jan Vladar from Slovakia. So our top 4 so far: Richard Hynek, Stein Legrand, Gregory Basilico, and Jan Vladar. And then coming in between.
Look at this battle right here for
Ooster.
5th. I mean, you're telling me 5th place doesn't matter here? This is for bragging rights. This is.
I'm sorry, like, if we look, I'm going to read out the top list here. Richard Hynek, Stein Legrand, Gregory Basilico, Jan Vladar, Frank Ooster, Bel Hedina, Jesse DeHeer, Peter Saniga, Manuel Defoe, Nicholas Kochi, Jonas Stretchy, Jakob Rubensky, Thibaut de Boucher, Albert Soli, Tobias Jager, Roman Toff, Martin Backstrom. I have not said a name yet that we don't recognize. This is a stacked field.
It's a who's who. But right now, it's a who doesn't want to be top 5. Every single one of these men, there was 3 of them on that ring at the same time. Who is going to come out? And it is a coveted 5th place. You always want to be top 5.
Is this?
You have one man, he just hit the ground. That
is
that
Manuel Defoe?
Right,
I think that's Manuel Defoe, who recently also just raced in Mammoth Mountain last weekend for the Super, has come over. He's a swift athlete, incredible. He has raced so many distances. What a wonderful man, what a wonderful finish. I am so happy for him.
And you saw it meant a lot to him. He was pumped. That 5th place meant something to him.
He is a great athlete and he works very, very hard. And I know I keep talking about Mammoth, but let's talk about it like we have gone from California to Manuel coming in there in 5th place. He's gone from California on the West Coast all the way to Europe in the space of a weekend. He's gone from 2,500 meters above sea level to sea level. And this is our top 3 men here. We have Richard Hynek in 1st place, Stein Legrand in 2nd place, and Gregory Basilico in 3rd. That is our top 3 men at the podium for the Spartan Sprint World Championship 2025.
Getting back to your point, that's 9 times. 9, and then coming from California, you're talking about multiple connections.
Well, that is going to be interesting
in the airport
for the women's race, because we have 2 women in the women's race when we get to it that did that last weekend. There's Annie Doobie and Rose Wetzel, 1st and 2nd place in Mammoth. But we're still going with the men. Let's keep our attention on them.
Yeah, so one spot that we didn't see was once they hit the spear, they had to jump back in the water, and then they had to climb up this cargo net just to get out of the harbor. It is harder than you think. It's very slack. You're in the water, so your arms are already fatigued, tremendously fatigued, and then you have to come into this ring. So last year, this was probably one of the hardest obstacles that I physically had to do when I was out there having fun in the race course. And you get to that point, it's just so tough. That's why Richard Hynek was pumping his fist so hard, because once you got through that, it was done.
Yeah.
Wherever you were placed, if you know everybody around you, he knew he was
And that's
a champion.
a tough rig as well. You know, you've got the bar, you've got the rings, you've got the ropes at the end. That's something that people really struggle with. And mentally, psychologically, to hit that rig at this point in the race, and there will be so many athletes today who will spend, a lot of time thinking about that rig and then be taking a penalty for it.
They knew that this rig was going to be back there again, probably in that same spot this year. They've been concerned about that, not just for this race morning, for months. They've been thinking about that. And nobody was thinking about a floating spear throw.
Listen, Thomas Blanc, he always pulls it out of the bag, and he loves to surprise us. Look at this view, those athletes swimming through this turquoise water, battle for their positions.
Look at a couple of our rabbits right there that did such a great job, and then they have to get right back out there. set it up for the women.
Yes. I can't say enough good things about this island. It's a very easy journey from me. Okay, I flew into Split and I spent a night there exploring the old town. I had great food. I had really, really great food. One of the best ice creams I've ever had. And then got the ferry, which in itself is gorgeous. An hour ferry over here.
There's nothing about the trip that's
There's nothing about the trip that's unpleasant. And there's nothing about the island that's unpleasant. Everyone I've met has been super friendly, super kind. It's very affordable. The food is wonderful. There's lots of truffles locally, which are gorgeous. If you eat seafood, there's plenty of that. And look at this sea. And the fact that it's October back home, it is raining. We just had a storm, and we can be here instead. Why wouldn't I be here instead?
And the thing is, too, is once you know, right in the area where the finish line is, there's a whole section of places for tours.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So once
yeah.
the second you get in, they have boat tours to these aqua blue lagoons and caves that you can take out, because we're in what's called the Dalmatian Islands. So we're on one of the bigger ones, which is Hvar, but they have all these smaller islands with all these incredible beaches and things to do all over the island, or taking boats to other places, beautiful coves. It's a paradise.
It's an absolute paradise.
You know, for me, coming from New York, you know, it's a much
what
longer
a
trip
difference.
than it is for you. But trust me, New York is beautiful this time of year.
Yeah.
I hate leaving New York in October because it is beautiful with the leaves and all that stuff. This is the one trip that I'm like, no,
It's
I
okay.
could leave home for this one. It is that good.
England at this time of year, not so great. This is a perfect escape to get to. And it's really good for me to know now that there's a place in October that is beautiful and warm and sunny. And I will definitely be making return trips here in the future. Look at that water, you can see through it.
We were watching the athletes just swimming through that crystal clear water, and that's with them splashing around, and you can still see directly to the bottom.
So we have our top 10 men in, so let's announce them. In first place is Richard Hynek, second is Stin Legrand, and in third place is Gregory Basilico. Fourth place is Jean Vidart, followed by Manuel Defoe in fifth. Frank Ostrom took sixth, with Peter Saniga in seventh. In eighth place is Nicholas Rakoczy, ninth is Albert Soli, and rounding off the top 10 is Jonas Drescher. That is an incredible top 10, and I could keep reading because there is name after name after name of athletes that we have heard of. I am not getting to a point where there's somebody that I don't know yet, and I'm going down to the top 30. This has been an incredibly deep field of amazing athletes.
We haven't had a Leon Kofed sighting, though. That I'm kind of disappointed about.
He finished in 21st place.
Good job for Leon.
He knew that this was a really deep field, and I spoke to him before the weekend. He's focusing on another competition coming up in a couple of weeks.
He's focusing on the 400 meter.
He wouldn't be putting all his effort into this. Here we go, a quick recap of the race. Heading out in strong in first position, Gregory Basilico taking any lead that he can. He was one of the first into the water.
And then once he got out of the water, that was the first time that we saw Stijn Legrand.
Yeah. You got very excited.
I got very excited. Because one of my Dutch friends is out there crushing it, and he did. But then it was shortly after Richard Hynek came into view, and it was the Hynek-Legrand battle for the entire race.
So the first of 3 swims, followed by the wall. Even just that is gonna that's gonna trip people up.
Yeah, I mean you know, like, you could lose so much time on something like that. He just did it so gracefully by being able to, like, throw down a hand and hurdle. And there goes the torpedoes. See, that really scared. Like, that log is going into the water, and you're jumping in as that log is coming back up.
Yep.
That's a great way to make your dentist very rich.
Yeah, Stijn towards the front with Richard, and this is where it all went wrong for him.
That was the moment of the race right there.
We saw them switching positions several times throughout the race, and Stijn leading, but eventually Stijn ended up finishing almost 2 minutes after Richard Hynek, with Gregory Basilico coming in just 3 seconds behind him. And that celebration of Richard on the finish line, look at his face. He is so happy and he is enjoying himself so much. He took his time there to celebrate with everyone. And that's a great thing, not just for him, but for everyone supporting. That is so enjoyable for everybody. And it's what we love. You know, when we talked yesterday, we had a few athletes that kind of, well, they didn't complete, did they? And I remember saying, you know, if they'd finished, the support they would have got from the crowd, even if they'd struggled, would have been incredible. And that was a great example. That was the crowd supporting when someone won, but you know they're going to be there all day cheering people on at the rigs as they make their way through, as they succeed and as they fail. And this community aspect, this support, is such a huge part of what Spartan is.
Yeah, and what's great for the guys now is they get to go out and you'll see them running along the course cheering on the ladies once they come out. So it'll be a bigger cheering section out there, and the energy is really starting to pick up now because it's gotten a little bit more sunny outside. It's gotten a little hotter, and that is going to be for the ladies. It's going to be extra couple degrees in temperature that they're going to have to deal with that the guys just didn't deal with.
Yeah, I mean sometimes that works out well for them. Using last weekend again as a as an example, incredibly cold in Mammoth. There was ice on the ground and snow on the ground, and they were on the side of the mountain where the sun comes up and it gets warm quickly, but it did not get warm. The men had to run in colder conditions than the women did. As Angelique Chateauneau there on the left, I saw her costume as she laid it out last night, and I said to her, I always love it when people wear really bright coloured outfits because it's very easy to identify them. So Angelique, thank you very much. She's a great athlete. She's also very proficient in hybrid at the minute. And there's little Libby Joyce from the UK.
And Henrietta Valdrum from Denmark with the maroon shirt on. Yeah, I got some bright shoes on right now too. I'm all about those bright colors when it comes to racing. I love it.
I love it. I love being able to identify people very easily from their clothes because sometimes these guys move really fast.
I appreciate your sense of fashion.
So that's Annie Doobie there last weekend. She took the lead. She took first place in Mammoth, and she also took first place at the Trifecta World Championship recently.
So she has an opportunity to do what Richard Heineken did today.
She does. Annie Doobie is a great athlete. She's been around for a long time as well, similarly to Richard. There's Petra Arvela. She can never quite decide if she's representing Spain or Finland. She's really strong in Deca and hybrid and in OCR.
Well, I can't decide whether I like tacos or burritos better, so I understand her play.
We also have Susanna Cookham over here this year. She had a battle last year with Nicole Miracle. They switched places a lot, and she eventually came in second place after the swim. And Klara Lakajakova from Czechia, she has a great history. 2024 Sprint World Championship, third place. She came third here last year, and first place in Abu Dhabi team race in 2023.
Susanna Kotsumova, I remember her bursting onto the scene in Lake Tahoe at the Spartan World Championships and blew away the field that year and blew it away again. So she has become a Spartan legend over the last 10 years.
Absolutely. I think we have an interview with Rose Wetzel, who is also here this weekend, if we can hear from her.
I'm so excited to be here in Croatia for the World Championship Sprint, especially after being in Mammoth where it was very cold and steep. Now I get to come and run fast and swim in Croatia, so that's awesome. The swim definitely is a little bit scary. I didn't grow up swimming, and so it's not my forte, but that being said, the water is clear, I can see fish in the water, and so I'm excited for the opportunity to jump in, hopefully get better at swimming, and just enjoy being out here on an island. I think this Spirit though is cool. I mean, it's floating in the middle of, let's see, Adriatic Sea, is that where we're at here? And how fun, what a cool little twist. And we'll just see how it does. Ever since I first started racing Spartan races, over a decade ago. I loved the sprint, and I always wished there was a sprint world championship, but it always was a beast and a beast and a beast. And then finally last year, I heard there would be a sprint world championship, and I was so excited. But then my father passed away right before the race, and it just wasn't going to work out. So I'm extra grateful to be here now and see what it's like to race with the top people in a race that's kind of sort of fast. I mean, it's still, 45 hour long race. It's not like it's a sprint like I would think of in track, but I'm just excited to really push myself and not do a lot of pacing and do more just you know, experimenting with how quickly I can do things, including obstacles.
Rose is wonderful. I find her a huge inspiration. We're about the same age, and our daughters were born within 2 weeks of each other. And I always look at her and think she's an incredible woman to be doing what she's doing. And she has such a gorgeous, gorgeous spirit and attitude as well. I love it when she speaks. She always makes me smile.
Well, to balance that out, though, I got some bad news for her. It is not a flat, fast course. And jumping into the Adriatic Sea 3 times is not the best way to learn how to swim.
Well, listen, she came at second in Mammoth last weekend with 700 meters of elevation, already starting at 2,500 meters. I think she's okay with a little bit of mountains. She was talking about. She said it's not a track course. She's got a great history on track. She's a really proficient athlete. Her fastest track 5K time was 16 minutes and 14 seconds. This girl is fast.
Oh, she's got the gas tank. She's always proven over her career that she is fast. She's done every kind of course, so this is not going to be anything that's a surprise or outside anything she could do. But she's going to have a lot of those stairs up and down to have to contend with, and this is going to be no speed course, that's for certain.
See,
as we've already seen
Susanna there in the front, waiting to take off in a prime position.
This is a great course for Annie.
Yes.
Her tagline on Instagram is like Mountain
Mountain Girl, yeah.
Right? So this woman loves to climb, and she climbs and descends a lot of technical stuff. It's very similar to this. To your point, it's like Colorado.
We have that Susanna, we have Clara, just 2 places down to the left, and Susanna's taken off in running fast ahead of the
Susanna
pack.
in the blue shorts with the white top, tall, athletic, former Olympian, and one of the best endurance athletes we've ever seen in the world of Spartan racing.
And this is what we saw on the last race. It's kind of anyone's game at this point, isn't it? It's a good place to take a bit of a lead, but it certainly doesn't determine everything.
The beginning of this race is tailor-made for Rose Watson.
This is a nice, big women's field. That is a deep field, and I am loving the amount of women I am seeing there. That is not small, is it?
Well, nobody said it was ever hard to get a bunch of really great women to a beautiful island. So, I mean, this is a perfect place if you want to have the World Championships for anything. It's this island because it is incredible. It is fun for everyone. And right now, these women put down a blistering pace.
They absolutely are. They are not going to be holding back. I mean, let's not forget, there is a lot on the line here, isn't there, when it comes down to this race? As we've said before, it's not just about taking home the win. It's also about taking home first prize, which is $7,000. Second prize, $3,500, and third prize is $2,000. That's equal for the men and women, as it absolutely should be.
A lot of the athletes in the sport have to bank on taking a podium to be able to afford this lifestyle of being able to afford to travel the sport. So it's important. So I mean, performance and bragging rights and trophies and titles. But a lot of times, these athletes, just to maintain their kind of foothold in the sport, have to win.
Yeah.
And this is where they're coming around the curve, where very quickly these women will be dipping down that cliffside into the water.
Something I love, and this happened here last year as well, is how the men ran their race and finished, and then the women run theirs. And it gives us an opportunity to give equal coverage to the men and the women, which sometimes is really, really difficult. And I know everyone watching and everyone taking part really appreciates this opportunity to have those flies.
You watch, you're coming down and they have to dip into the water and then go up over these slick rocks. And if you can see, they're all wet. When the tide goes up, it got all those rocks wet. And now the tide is coming down, but those rocks are so slick as anything.
Donc c'est ça, 1, Alissa Petrova.
And going back to that last point there, usually in the past we'd have world championships. The men would go off, and the men would be running, and then the women would go off like 10 minutes after.
Yeah, it still happens a lot.
So we didn't get as great a camera coverage because all your rabbits were being spread out now over both genders.
Yeah.
And you would get the very beginning of the men's race, and you would lose a lot of the coverage on the women's race until the men were getting done. And you wouldn't pick up the ladies until maybe in the middle, halfway through or towards the end. So it's great to be able to focus on everyone right from the beginning, both the men and the women.
Yeah, it's an incredible competition with the women. I'm really excited. I need one of those t-shirts that says "Here for the women's race."
I haven't. I haven't. Oh, you need one of those.
Yeah, I
you
need
said
one.
if I had one. No, I'm like, I did not.
So we made some pretty bold statements in the men's race. Should we do some for the women's?
Yeah, okay, let's go. What's your... Can I go first this time because you went first, I believe? No, wait, I went first.
I think you went first, but I don't think it matters.
No, you take the lead on this one because we might have the same person.
I can't decide between Susanna Kokomova and Annie Doobie, but I might inch towards Susanna if you're going to inch towards Annie, just to have a little bit of competition.
I was inching towards Annie.
Okay, so you take Annie, I'll take Susanna.
It works out great.
But to be honest, I'm finding it hard to call it. They're both absolutely incredible athletes, but Susanna knows this course. She's been here before. She's not just done the travel from the US. That might work in her favor.
Yeah, well, I mean...
We're seeing the women here with swim caps as well, which is a great idea, actually. A lot of these women have long hair. That, it bounces around, it gets in your face, it gets very annoying.
It's absorbing that
great
salt water.
idea.
And at some point, they're going to have to take those swim caps off, though, because that is maintaining
heat.
A tremendous amount of body heat. That will really affect your performance. Your body starts to heat up, if it overheats, you slow down.
Yeah.
So this is not sand, it's more like gravel.
Yeah, so this is that kind of classic pebble beach. They're quite,
yes.
They're nice pebbles. They're not big. They're quite easy to run over. I actually love a pebble beach because you don't get that sand that goes everywhere. So I am a big fan of that. A lot easier to run on than sand.
Yeah. If you get some of those, if your shoes aren't laced up really tight though, and you get some of those pebbles in there, it's disaster.
Yeah, it can be pretty
right
annoying.
At the beginning of the race, you get one pebble in your shoe, and that could hurt your foot for the entire race. So I'm anxious to see how many people have that problem later, but probably not as much as if you had sand.
Talking of sand, Spartan has a great roster of championship races. We're currently in Hvar for the Sprint World Championship, but the next destination will be Abu Dhabi for the Beast World Championship. And that is sand after sand after sand. That is desert dunes of sand.
That was also a shameless plug for our World Championship in Abu Dhabi. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I am shameless when it comes to promoting the championships. I love them so much. I think we're seeing a bit of Elsa Ripstar there, giving a good early lead.
Well, if it is, it's tough to tell with the swim caps.
It is tough to tell with the swim caps and all in black, but we get into the vibe pretty quickly.
So many similar body types here too. Susanna Kutsabova made it really easy with the kit that she wore because it was like the bright white, the blue, and then we have a lot of black out here.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing in a lot of the hybrid sports, people are really going towards very defined, very bold outfits for their races. I want to see more of that in OTL. So that's Elsa Ripstra there taking out the lead. She's from the Netherlands. You could have picked another Dutch athlete for your.
Well, I said the Dutch. I could stick with that. The fact of the matter is the fact that we're talking about the Dutch with both men and the women now, right up there towards the front, just shows you how strong that country has become in OCR.
Yeah.
They have been really dominant and prevalent on podiums for the last few years now.
It's been recent. We had a lot of Slovakia and Czechia athletes that really dominated, and we're still seeing that with people like Susanna, Klara Kajakova, Richard Hynek. You know, it's very
As we get
prevalent,
a
but
look at
we
Susanna
are getting the Netherlands
right there.
athletes. Yeah, Susanna there in 3rd place, it looks like.
Yeah, she's moving her way up. Still no Annie Doobie sighting. We saw her in warm-ups, but not yet. And this young lady has a great body type for all the stairs and the wide open running. Not so much for the heavy carries. So it's going to be interesting to see. There's Susanna right there in 3rd place coming up. Okay, this is where we can see Susanna make a little bit more of a move. She's big, she's powerful. She was an Olympic cross-country skier for Slovakia. She is, or Czech Republic rather, she can really hammer these heavy carries.
So that's Elsa Rootstra in 1st place from the Netherlands, and in 2nd is Tatiana Peksarava. And 3rd place, Susanna Kokomova and Elisa Petrova. Siri England. We are seeing athletes popping up that I did not see on this one. Annie Doobie currently in 7th place. Signe Caroline Kolstow in 8th. Strong field for the women, just as it was for the men. I could keep going down this list. Look at all these athletes here.
If Francesca's looking at a board right now with all the athletes' names and their times listed on it, so when you hear her talk about that, that's what she's referring to. It's a graphic that's in front of us, not on your screen. But there we are. I tell you what, she's putting down a better time on this carry than I thought. She's putting some, I wouldn't say some space, but she's holding off Susanna Kotsubova right now. She's keeping it even. And on a heavy carry, that's important. But when we get up to that sandbag carry, that's where it's going to be a really game changer.
Yeah.
Because the power and the strength of Susanna's ability to descend with that sandbag is going to be the biggest part of it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see here what happens with Tatiana and Elisa. Not people to sleep on, absolutely.
These are long carries. Yeah. Long carries. No bucket out there, but these log carries and the sandbag carry are, I mean, it's like they've taken forever.
Imagine a bucket carry in this terrain.
Rocks everywhere.
Yesterday, I was watching the 100 meters and I met somebody who was here as a tourist. And I was telling her all about what the 100 meters is about in a very excited way. And then I pointed up to the fortress. She said, "Did you see those people up there? So they're running a beast today. And they're carrying on their backs a sandbag." And she's like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "It's really fun. You should do it."
And as she jumps into the water with that bobber, and now she has to swim that all the way down. And let's see who the athletes are coming in. Because Susanna looks like she's in 3rd right now.
That is unexpected at this point, but anything can happen.
Again, let's see this strategy with people getting in the water. A little bit more conservative so far with the ladies.
Susanna just taking a little bit of a lead there. This is what she did last year. She used the ropes to her advantage to help propel her along, which is not against the rules, so why not?
No.
The problem is when you get 2 athletes close together.
And so that boat is probably about a 21-footer. So there's probably about 40 feet, 45 feet of distance. Oh, I'm sorry, we're in Europe. We got to say meters.
We do have to say meters.
I'm sorry. So we're talking maybe about 12 to 13 meter difference between the 2 ladies right now.
What we're seeing interesting here is the difference between the athletes who jump into the water early and I think are just getting a bit overexcited to those who make it to the rope and are able to drag themselves along, because those who jumped into the water earlier have got a lot more swimming to do. And they may know that they're very proficient in swimming, but they're carrying a log and it's still harder than pulling yourself along. If it was me, I would go straight for the rope.
This is where you got to be really careful, because when the splashing happens, the water gets all white water. You can't tell where people's feet are, where their hands are, where anything is. So you got to be really careful jumping in with that. The Dixie point you made before while they're on this long swim, you talked about the tourists that you're speaking to yesterday. So the yachts and the tour boats pull right up to the harbor where our finish line is, and where the A-frame cargo net is, and the multi-rig. So these people are getting off the boats and they're just seeing what's going on. They're like, what did I just roll into, right?
Last year when I arrived on the ferry, and I was kind of like, am I going to the right place? Am I going to know what's going on? And the ferry docked, and there was a huge rig there, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
So the funny part is they're amazed, and a lot of people, as soon as they get off the boats, they're meeting a tour guide, leading them on a guided tour. and the tour guide's coming through, and the people are not paying attention to the tour guides anymore. He has to compete with the 100 meter and the beast finishes. So it's been aggravating tour guides because the people on the boats are more interested in the races than they are the architecture.
Elsa, toujours en tête, sortie de l'eau.
Here we go, out of the water and up the hill.
Good job, Elsa. C'est bon, moi. Ok. Ouais, t'as un bel écart, de toute façon, donc tu vas te barrer, on va pas trop.
Elsa absolutely taking the lead and heading up that hill. She is trying to maintain this lead.
Yeah, so I mean, she's got to complete this log carry. Just it keeps going on forever, and once she drops that, that's when she's going to start being able to hit those switchbacks. She really needs to make up a lot of, create a lot of distance between her and Susanna before they get to that sandbag carry. She has it well positioned on her shoulder, and here's Susanna coming up right behind her. She's out of frame right now, but just made that turn, so she's probably 30 seconds off the lead right now, I'd say, guesstimating.
It's a great American word as well.
Oh, I got plenty of them.
C'était sorti de l'eau, je voulais dire.
You got to do a lot of guesstimating these races, right?
You really do. We really pull a lot of facts together and kind of go, what do we know? Let's try and make a good guesstimation here.
So I'm watching to see if Susanna turns that curve in that bright area behind her yet. She hasn't, but there she is. Yes, it's about a 30-second lead, so we can count it off right now.
We should be able to see on the timing what happens. We'll be able to see when so Elsa left the log carry at 9:15:08. And Susanna left the log carry at 9:15:22.
Well, Susanna just turned the corner behind her. So Susanna is behind her in frame right now.
She's 14
running
seconds
up the
behind her.
So Liza's going to be coming up to that really narrow, steep stairwell that went through, like, you know, almost like through people's backyards. Somebody walking out in the morning to take out the morning trash, and they're going to have this athlete ripping right past them up the stairs.
That's so funny. This is a great showing for Elsa. It's incredible to see a young athlete holding her own here. She has really become very known for her technical precision, which we've not got to see much of yet, but we will soon. And being incredibly consistent. Now, if she's consistent in this race and she holds on to what she's shown so far, she can hold the lead. What we saw last year with Nicole was she set off fast and she held it, and it was just the spear throw that kind of threw her off.
And again, that spear throw is a whole different ball game for a number of reasons. Not only is it in the water, right? It's also at the end of the race, where if you miss a spear, up at the fort last year, you still had a chance to maybe run your way back into it.
Yeah.
But it didn't have burpees. It was a penalty loop. So the burpees are much more time-consuming and energy-consuming than the penalty loop was. And we're seeing hands on knees as Eliza comes up that stairs. She hit that first narrow stairwell. We didn't get it all on video, but you saw it before with the men. So you got to kind of have a good idea of what it looked like if you can remember that. And now she's going to run up this road, and she's going to come into those windy, switchbacking tight turn stairs that we saw earlier as well. And Susanna kind of popped in the screen behind her, still about 15, 16 seconds behind. That's a look at a little graphic at the elite men that popped up and where the women are now. So we have Eliza, Susanna, Tatiana, Alyssa, and Sarah Beckstrom, and no sighting of Annie Doobie yet. She's probably still back in 6th or 7th place, but that top 5 is a list of who's who in this sport right now.
Yeah, I would be surprised to see Elisa staying in 4th place. I would expect her to move higher.
I would 100% agree with you. Absolutely. All right, here are those switchback stairs now. And I'm seeing a lot of hands on her knees right now. I don't know if that's more strategic to maintain energy or if she's really starting to feel a little bit of gas right now.
I mean, I'm no athlete like these guys, but that's what I do when I'm going up those hills.
Guys, these are the girls. These are the ladies. These are the women.
Oh, it's gender
Come
neutral.
on, Francesca. I'm kidding. But I tell you what, she was hands on knees right there, but she hopped into a pretty steady cadence after that, so she's looking all right. And this is when you start to be able to see the beautiful backdrops of Hvar as they're climbing up this mountain. It's so steep, it juts right up out of the sea, so it doesn't take long to get to the top. It's very, very taxing to do it. As we have Susanna on the other screen now as well. I love having this split screen
It's
where you can see both
fantastic.
at the same time.
These are 1st and 2nd place athletes there with Elsa and Susanna.
What you'll see these athletes, not so much like right now, but in races that are a little bit longer, you see the athletes picking the sides of the road where there's more shade, trying everything they can to stay cool throughout the race. Susanna trying to keep that pace with Eliza.
Yeah.
Eliza is not making it easy.
She is absolutely not. She's looking really strong, like we said, that unshakable consistency. She's holding on to it, isn't she?
Yep. And this is the area right now. And check this out. Susanna is in 2nd. We have 3rd place coming up as well. Susanna running down this hill. This is when they're going to start getting into that area where they're going to be dipping into the more rocky, more natural terrain before they head towards the fort that Sandbag carry. And there it is right there. So Eliza just got in there. You didn't see before, but this is how steep going up. It's all these ledges that you have to power up.
And those
jump
rocks
up.
are very easy to slip over each other and start to fall.
Your foot hit one's wrong, your foot will slip all the way back and you're going down on your knees. So we're getting a much better view of the women now, how rocky that terrain actually was coming up.
Do you know what I find really interesting about European racing as well? Is obviously, you know, America, the USA is a lot younger than England. And in Europe, we do still see the physical differences associated with different nations. So the Dutch are very, very tall. And we see that here with Elsa. She's very tall. She's got that length. You can see it. That comes with strength as well. And then we have Slovakia, Czechia. They tend to be much stronger and broader and have that deep strength about them, which you've seen historically with athletes. And I think that plays a huge part in what we see with the racing, because we've not yet lost those cultural identities.
It's a great point, because USA being a melting pot, we're so blended genetically.
Areas, and you're one big country.
I was in Lithuania doing a different event about a month ago, and I'm like, I've never seen so many people that are over 6'6" in my life. Right? It's just different. So that is a great point, and it's fun to be able to match the athletes up depending on what a lot of their physical attributes are and what the standards and the challenges of their course are.
Yeah.
And there's those rocks. And she's got a very interesting gait.
She really does.
Her knees
slightly inwards.
They internally rotate a lot. And you don't see that a lot with athletes that are really good endurance athletes.
But she's incredible.
Yeah. And it doesn't slow her down.
But that could be down to potentially her height.
Who knows? But it's you know, she's lanky. She's very thin. And then you're looking at Susanna, who's, I mean, incredibly powerful in her posterior chain, back,
Yes.
glutes, hamstrings, but all that muscle demands blood and
Yeah.
oxygen, and it takes a
it's-
lot to
yeah.
supply it. And this is really interesting here. On the left side of the wall that you went on, it's slightly forcing down, pointing
So
downhill.
it's more to hold on
You're
to.
leaning back on this, but a lot of athletes want to be able to go on the wall with their dominant hand that they're used to doing no matter what. But this is very slick. They are wet, and I wouldn't be surprised if some other athletes fall off if they try that.
Well,
but she made it look easy.
They also, going for the last obstacle means you're then straight out back to running, and it also means she's out of sight of those who are behind her. So it doesn't give anyone behind an idea of what's happening.
So getting back to Alyssa's body frame, being that she's a little bit more slight, it also requires less oxygen that has to go to her muscles, and it creates a greater efficiency. So it's incredible to see how that plays out, and we're really going to see that when it comes down to that sandbag carry.
Yeah.
That's going to be Susanna's
Susanna
spot.
ripped through the Z wall there. She really went fast.
No problems there.
We're seeing two women there on the Z walls, kind of neck and neck battling. I'm going to say
Look
that's
how nimble she
Tatiana.
was. That was fantastic athleticism that she just pulled off right there. As Susanna powering through, and we see what we're talking about with her muscularity.
Strength.
She is strong.
Oh, she
strong,
is. She
strong.
is the hand version of steady-footed here.
She's very similar in her
Ooh.
big lâché, big swing to get there. These bars are far apart, and there's a big gap, a big height difference from bar to bar here. You really have to work your way up.
This is again where we see the difference in the athlete's size. If you've got more height on you and you've got the strength, then you can make that reach. And the slighter, the shorter athletes, which we see in the men as well, really have to work for that distance.
Hitting the inverted wall after that rope climb, and now it is a race to that sandbag. And this is going to be, again, where Susanna could has an opportunity to take command and take this race back. If she's going to do it, it has to be here.
Or at the split throw.
Of course, right? Let's assume they both make their spear throws. Everyone's going to assume they're going to make their spear, try to make their spear. They're going to have that positive mindset to do that. But she doesn't want to have to rely on her competition missing the spear to get back in the race. You want to be there with the lead or breathing down their neck to put on that added pressure. Okay, so here it is.
So Elsa hitting the fortress at 9:25 and 44 seconds. We should see Susanna coming through not too far afterwards. It'll be interesting to see the difference. She was, 9 seconds behind her, 14 seconds behind her previously, and now we'll see when she hits that timing mat how far behind she is. And there we go. Wow, just under a minute, 40 seconds behind her. So that gap has extended, with Elsa in the lead, about 40 seconds ahead of Susanna.
Okay, so about 40 seconds. There's Susanna already with the sandbag. So as you're watching this video, you're going to get a good idea of how quickly she can close this gap if she can. It's really going to start with the downhill. Susanna making a strong push right now. And this is her wheelhouse. When she got into Spartan, it was in Lake Tahoe, and they had some of the heaviest, longest carries that we've ever had in Spartan. And she was new to the sport, and nobody gave her the credit against some of the other athletes in terms of whether or not she'd be able to hang on that stage. And she powered through better than anyone had ever done. And so this is her wheelhouse, and she's making grounds up right now on Eliza. Had to make a shift the bag right there on the shoulders. It definitely was starting to, like, whenever you see the athletes make a shift, that means something's starting to get fatigued.
So here we go. We have our top 5 athletes through the timing mat at the Fortress. Elsa Hoopstra from the Netherlands was in first place. Susanna Kokomova in second. Tatsiana Peksareva still holding strong. She was in third, with Elisa Petrova in fourth and Sarah Backstrom taking fifth there at that timing mat. Now we know from seeing the men's race that it goes downhill from here, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, and Eliza's just started that downhill, but we have athletes popping up. Oh, that was actually a cameraman. Which I tell you what, she's doing her job right now. We do not see Susanna Kotomova in frame yet.
No. So Elsa is in the front with Susanna, not quite behind her. So Elsa had a lead on Susanna of 14 seconds at the first timing mat.
There's Susanna right now. She is about, I'd say, 60, 70 meters off the lead right now. And she's looking a lot stronger. Whereas Susanna is just sprinting now with that bag, makes a quick shift herself.
Around.
Yeah. Liza is more trying to like hang on to that lead.
Yeah, Elsa's got a good point here, a good opportunity here to hold on to that lead going into the town. We saw once the athletes got there, it's very difficult to overtake, but she really does have a strong lead, and that gap widened between the marking points. She took the lead at the log carry, and she just extended it by the time they got to the top of the hill. And now it is downhill, and she's looking very comfortable. She has a good long wingspan. She can hold onto that sandbag. It's not easy though. They're not easy. They are uncomfortable to carry.
And Susanna right there.
Susanna's
This
right
is
on
the
the tail.
gap
She's
that we thought
closing
she
that
was
gap.
made up. Now you have to carry it up, throw it up all these other depressions. We didn't get a chance to see this spot with the men. And now Alyssa has Susanna breathing down her neck.
Yeah, Elsa is just ahead of Susanna, and really Susanna has taken that big lead and she has narrowed it, and this is her opportunity before things get really, really tight for her to overtake. We saw an incredible overtaking with the men with Richard Hynek, and he made a really sneaky move.
This is the tough part right here because it's super narrow here, and once they're on this trail right now, you have wall on one side, you have cactus on the other. So it's not really this is a really hard place to try to make a pass right now. Susanna wants to pass, but she doesn't have the room to do it. Except maybe right here. She's got to do it now. Got to do it now, Susanna.
Come on.
And she held her off.
And this, again, this
Elsa
is the really
in the
interesting
battle of her life.
This is the really interesting part about OCR. Like, we're looking at this and you can see all those different moves they had to make in order to get up. Put the bag down, put your hands, climb up, get on top, stay low, pick up the bag, get it into the right position, stand up again. And in that, we're shouting at you to overtake as well. Come on. That's a lot of work. Elsa taking a risk there by not holding onto her sandbag. And this is what we were talking about earlier with the men. It's more obvious with the women, is that difficulty. Susanna almost elbowing Elsa out the way. Oh my gosh, an uphill overtake, nudging her out to get through. But this is the difficulty. They're going on like a hike here. Like I say, with cactus on one side, they don't have their hands to steady them. Elsa taking a risk, letting the sandbag balance on her shoulders so she could scramble up a little bit. Because this is pure leg work.
And now Susanna has to put as much of a gap as she can between her and Elsa right now, because once this is done, then they have to descend the mountain, right? Yeah. All the way back down into the harbor, run and cut through all those little villages. There's going to be really no opportunity to pass, and it's going to be difficult for her to keep up with Susanna. So she can keep up with her, but she's not going to be able to make any passes and open it up. So she needs to be near her when they get into that spear.
Susanna's opened up that gap there quite a lot. And I wonder if she's feeling memories of last year, where it was around this point that she overtook Nicole. Nicole ran a very steady race, and the whole time we were saying, could she keep up the speed? Could she keep up the speed? Elsa's kind of done the same. Not quite to the same extent, but she's run a steady race and kept speed. And here at the same point, Susanna has overtaken. It's all going to come down to what happens as they go down and down in the village.
And we've actually, now we got a little bit more of a pack down there too. Some of the other athletes have caught up as well. It's hard to tell who that exactly is in the black. So
Okay. Let's go. One time. Okay, keep pushing, keep pushing.
but neither one of these girls are going to be stopping for espresso. I don't think they would need it anyway. They're running highly caffeinated. And now they're both looking very relaxed as well. Elsa showing no signs of fatigue from that very treacherous, precarious, long sandbag carry. And Susanna is right there with her. We had a tremendous battle with the men that came down to that spear throw. And we have another equally important and exciting battle here with the women right now. Elsa and multi-time Spartan world champion Zuzana Kotomova putting on a show today. One of the advantages of running in these areas now too, even though up and down, almost all of it is shaded because they're in the belly of the city of Hvar.
At this point in the competition is super exciting, isn't it? Because this is the point where it could all change, but there's not much that can change right now.
And it's just not the spear throw, it's that multi-rig after they have to swim through that last part of the harbor, pull themselves up that cargo net, and then go into that very wet, tricky multi-rig with the ropes at the end. Susanna hanging with her.
These women are so strong and so impressive, and they are absolutely pushing for it right now, going through the town.
and you were talking about this before when you're walking around, none of these steps are like
So
the
that's
same. Everything is different. So you can't anticipate and get into a rhythm going down these stairs. Everything's at a different height, at a different distance, at a different pitch. You have to be concentrating and focusing on every single step.
So that's Elisa Petrova there has taken the lead.
Wow.
At the under-through walls, hitting them at the same time as Susanna Kokomova at 9:35 and 16. Elsa Ripstra coming through in third place at 9:35 and 30. So Elsa just 14 seconds behind Susanna and Elisa.
We missed the pass. There was two black shirts together on that sandbag carry.
Yeah.
And remember I was saying I didn't want to speculate who was there right after? That's where that pass happened. And that's where Elisa, and you called it, you said you would not be surprised if she moved up from fourth into podium position, and she did that.
Elisa is an incredible athlete. She has been around, well, you know, we're seeing so many athletes this weekend who have been around for a very long time, and they're really, really strong. And it is not a surprise to see her running here. She's a real kind of steady figure in the OCR community, and great to have such a strong female contingent this weekend with the new guard and the older guard with Elisa and Susanna and Elsa coming in, showing the kind of the new legs of the running.
Yeah, so kind of an unexpected lead change there. She went from fourth, she's all the way in first now, but Susanna's right there. Elsa is not far behind from there either. So this is going to come down to the three women at the spear. So the podium is very much up in the air now.
Yes,
any one of these people can change positions at any point.
Listen, we're talking about a difference of 14 seconds at the last timing map between the top three women, Elisa Petrova, Susanna Kokomova, and Elsa Ripstra. And we are coming into this final gauntlet of obstacles where we know that for the men, things changed dramatically and the men had a bigger gap. If all three women stick their spear throw, things could stay the same, but they still have that multi-rig. That multi-rig is really tough. They're going into it fatigued. They're going into it with wet hands and nowhere to dry. Last year, Susanna took her time to kind of steady herself and dry her hands to take on that rig. These women don't have that opportunity. But let's see what happens at the spear throw first.
Susanna diving into the water right there once she got in a little deeper. She looks like she's swimming strong right now too. You can see the splashing in the middle of the screen there. She's
using the rope to move it. So I was like,
that's it.
She's taking a long dive that they're using the rope
to get there. They're using that rope to get across, which
it's allowed.
I tell you what though.
I'd do it.
It burns out your arms though as well.
It does. It burns out your arms. And what are they coming into?
They're going into the spear throw.
Exactly.
So it takes more energy than people think. So if they're on this rope right now, they still have to be worrying about energy efficiency, because you just can't all of a sudden throw your arms on there and think, I'm going to pull myself past the competitor in front of me and still be able to throw that spear or hang on to that rig afterwards.
Yeah. Do you know what I love about the women's race?
What?
You can just never call it. They are so competitive and they are so talented. It is always so difficult to know how these women are going to perform. It's incredible. It's so exciting.
As the years have gone on, the parity gap has closed so much.
Yes, absolutely.
You used to have 2 or 3, and then there's everybody else who's 10 minutes behind.
But
now
not
it's
anymore.
within seconds that you have, and you're talking about 10 to 15 women in any race that all have a shot at heading to the podium. All right, there is Susanna.
Exiting
is
the
this
water.
her coming out of
This
the water
is her
first?
exiting the water
She made
first.
a pass in the water.
That is incredible.
Wow,
She's
so
not
1, 2, both ladies coming to the spear at nearly the same time.
I am so nervous. I don't know how.
Essentially, if you hit this, you're in the wheelhouse for the World Championship.
Yeah, but
if they both hit, which I hope they both do.
There's 3 of them together getting
Elsa.
their ropes at the same time, and they're all going for the same target. I personally would potentially go for another one so that I didn't have somebody else impacting the steadiness.
Who's going to take the first shot?
Three different techniques there.
Susanna misses.
Susanna
Elsa misses.
Elisa taking her time. She knows she can take her time to stick it.
And she
none of them
misses.
stuck
We
it.
have a 3-woman burpee off going into the rig and into the last 100 meters of this race.
I liked what Elisa did there. We saw 3 totally different techniques. Susanna took a little bit of a run-up, we could call it, to steady herself, and she didn't get it. Elisa took her time. She thought, you know what, if I stick this, I'm good. I'm going to take the risk and take my time. But that was a big risk, because she did not stick that, which means she is now behind starting her burpees. And in the men, we saw a difference of 3 seconds, 4 seconds between second and third place. We could be seeing that again with these women. We could be seeing these women going into that rig at the same time.
Biomechanically, she had the Alyssa had the best throw. Unfortunately, just was a little bit low. But who is going to power through these burpees faster? And that rig is going to be a legendary moment in OCR here, and it's Spartan.
This is where, in burpees, this is where height doesn't do you any favors, is it? Because the more you have to move from the ground to the floor, the harder it's going to be for you.
We've never seen 3 women at a Spartan championship all doing burpees there, and it could all be taken by number 4 now. And she nails it, and she knows it. And
Tatiana
coming from 4th
Pexarava,
place,
who set off the race in 1st place, who was holding the lead and then moved down into 4th, stuck her spear throw when the top 3 women didn't. Are we going to see an entire change here of athletes?
and 5th place, I believe, hit the spear as well too. But she's going to have a chance to come all the way back from 4th place, and she knew it. The surprise in her eyes. Thrilled, the first woman to hit the spear, and now she has to swim over to that rig and get as much ground as she can, but make sure that every single handhold is perfect. If she gets through this rig, she wins this race. It is still not over. Every single podium spot is open right now.
Listen, we have more opportunities for penalties, and we can't underestimate. Imagine the adrenaline that's running through you as you've overtaken the top 3 women and you've gone through that swim and you head to the rig. It's gonna be. I mean, I'm full of adrenaline right now.
All
You've got
3
to
women
steady
doing the
yourself
burpees.
and you're wet.
All 3 women doing the burpees are in the water right now too. They're all coming up behind her.
Coming up behind her or overtaking in the case of Susanna Kokomova.
We got to see Susanna Kokomova just did exactly what you said. 30 burpees and then hit that water like an absolute speedboat and is now coming up. What a battle we have. Now again, using that arm strength, everything they have. There's Susanna, is kind of slipping, having to yank herself over, rolling up that seawall, and she just got overtaken again. Then you have to climb. This is like the hardest A-frame to do after that.
This is a great time to dry your hands, though. You could be drying your hands. This is the only opportunity.
You have to avoid touching the truss, which is a penalty as well.
It is, but I mean, I say it's dry fabric. We've now had 80 men go through here, so is it that dry? I love this forward roll technique. I've always loved it when I see women. We've seen it before with women overtaking on the A-frame with this technique.
Who is the stronger climber? They just dried their hands off, like you said. Who is going to be more aggressive and come out of this still alive?
Susanna taking a little bit more time, but she's strong.
Test to the rings.
This is a point.
You're seeing a chicken wing. She's not trusting her wet hand. She's going for the chicken wing in the rings.
That's incredible technique to be able to do
Takes
that
a tremendous amount of upper body strength, and she got to the rope clean and to the bell. Susanna is falling back into 3rd place now. And is that Elsa ripping up behind her? It is. That is Elsa coming all the way back. Susanna over the top of the wall. It is Tess. It is Elsa. It is Elsa. Just behind. Coming into the slip wall. We are watching a race for the
We're
ages
seeing
right
a
now.
race here with Sara Buckstrom. Sara Buckstrom from Sweden, having taken a surprise lead with Tatiana Paxareva behind her and Susanna Kokobova
Who's
in
going to
third
have
place.
the courage to do the
Elsa
flip?
Ripstra in fourth place currently. This is a real battle. Sara Buckstrom of Team Stream sprinting for the finish.
And there is your world champion after one of the most heated battles ever in a Spartan World Championship race.
Sara's an incredible athlete from Sweden. Her and her husband Martin raced together, and she is absolutely shocked and surprised that she took that win. Let's not.
Wow. Susanna Kotsumova on her back, right behind her, on her shoulder rather, put up the effort of her life, but it just wasn't
Look at
enough.
that happiness there, the joy on her face, having taken that win. And that last gauntlet obstacles really proved to be the test here. Look, let's be honest, the speed at which these women are doing burpees, Sara, Tatiana, everybody else had to be really high to be able to overtake. These women have been running an incredible race this whole time. Sara and her husband Martin, Team Stream, together from Sweden, celebrating. Really race together.
Top 3 in just 7 seconds difference. Vamos, 7 sekunde razlike. Između top 3, ljudi moji, takvo svjetsko prvenstvo ovdje u Hvaru. Low, big, low. Apsolutno ludilo, ljudi moji, svjetsko prvenstvo. Sara Buckstrom iz Švedske uzima svjetsku krunu u nevjerojatnoj završnici ovog utakmice. Danas čujemo Hvar.
Amazing. What an incredible competition here with the women and with the men, but a sprint finish for the women with Sara Buckstrom taking that win. It was a real race. We saw a lot of changes happening, and that's what I absolutely love to see. Elisa there on the finish line with Tatiana talking about their race and what happened, and they both battled incredibly hard. This was anyone's race today. And you know what? We were both wrong. And sometimes that's absolutely okay.
Yeah, it's great to be surprised, you know? I mean, we never saw Annie Doobie once
No, we
in
didn't.
this race. She's probably across the finish line right now. She's probably right there the whole time, though we just never saw her. But it's great to have these surprises. It was so tremendous to have that battle at the end, though.
Yeah.
You know, having the 3 women at the spear at the same time, doing burpees at the same time. And we're so focused on them that all of a sudden fourth
Somebody
place
else
comes
comes out
up
of
and
nowhere.
hits their spear and changes the whole dynamic. And then
Here
all of
we
a sudden
go,
she gets past.
the race starting again. And you know what? It's incredible to see an athlete like Sara Buckstrom taking a win. She's been working hard for years, and just a really good person, a really nice person. She's had some really great competitions over the years, and she puts in the work. She deserves that win. And if you can take it here against these athletes, you are working hard.
And it was a perfect example of the Spartan ethos of never giving up,
Yep. Courage,
never quitting, always staying in the race, showing that grit because you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
And all of them exemplified that. They,
Yeah.
At some point,
I mean, the changes that we saw, the switches back and forth, Elsa, Elisa, Susanna changing so many times and then getting to that spear throw. It's just, you've got to keep pushing until the very, very, very last second. We saw it with the men, push until the very last second because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's hard, isn't it? When you're in a race and you feel like you don't have that opportunity to win, it's hard to keep pushing for every second and not letting up at any point.
And kudos to Spartan because, you know, you talked about Rose Wetzel, again, who we never saw Rose either. talking about how I wish for years that Spartan
Yes.
had a 5K World Championship, because this is the kind of tight, exciting racing
yeah.
you see in the 5K format.
Here we see that overtake by Susanna going up towards the fortress.
Yeah, that
she
was,
did a few of those really cool moves. That was really her moment this weekend. Look at her elbowing out the way and just going for it.
Yeah, I mean, that was, and then the positions changed once we got into the kind of town area of Hvar, and then they changed again on the swim, and then it was just complete chaos at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And you say Rose has been saying for years she wished there was the celebration there as the spear stuck. There was a Sprint World Championship. I know I've mentioned it before, but Spartan offers a ton of World Championship events, from the 100 meters in the sprint this weekend, the Super, the Beast, the Ultra World Championship, and the Trifecta World Championship. There are all distances that you can try, and they are open to everyone as well. You don't have to be an elite racer. That finish there for Sarah Buckstrom, taking first place for the women. Absolutely incredible. You can see the joy in her face, and I think she doesn't quite realize that she's won. She's smiling, she's happy, and then she goes, "What? I won?"
Amazing, because I mean, she ran through that banner, didn't even know it was there. It kind of got caught up on her. But it's just a tremendous environment to be able to race. The athletes, you see them out here, you see them racing, you see them working hard.
Yeah.
No one sees the countless hours of waking up when it's dark to train, the going to work, to taking care of their families, to getting back to the gym, to dealing with all the other life things they have to do.
Yeah.
They put in all that hard work, they sacrifice so much to be able to come to these events with nothing ever guaranteed. Success is never guaranteed. So for them to have this moment, and for Sarah to have this moment,
it's just wonderful.
It warms your heart.
So we have our top 10 women in as well. I mean, this is another list that I could keep reading and we'd keep recognizing. In first place in the Spartan Sprint World Championship for 2025, hosted by Hvar, Croatia, with Sarah Buckstrom from Sweden. In second place, Tatiana Peksarava. And in third place was Susanna Kokomova. Elsa Ripstra took fourth, with Elisa Petrova in fifth. And in sixth place was Henriette Bardrum. Seventh was Katrine Halland Leveras, and in eighth with Lucy Cerna. Signe Caroline Kolstow took ninth, and in 10th place was Inez Bevenod Mote. An incredible field of women. And like you say, we've got here coming below Siri England, Annie Doobie, Clara Lachikova, Rose Wessel, still so many more names to go. An absolute incredible competition here in Hvar. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining me. Thank you for everyone at home for watching. Thank you to the rabbits for running out there. Obviously, thank you to the athletes for putting on an incredible show. Join us again next time for the next Spartan World Championship. We'll be in Dubai for the Beast. And until then, thank you so much.